Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back, welcoming you to Answering the Bell with Stormybman for this Sunday, August 28th, 2022. And we are back in the house for another call-in. This is number 52 in the series of call-in shows. And I want to say welcome to you all to another great, glorious morning. Because if you're here, if you're up, if you're about and have your wits about, you've been blessed for another day. Make the most of it, as we intend to do with this show this morning. Salute to all of you who are out there early. Good to see you. We got Signature Sounds in the building saying, what's good with you, Stormy? What's good with you, man? We got Heavy Bag, a.k.a. Heavy, saying salute, Stormy. Talib Cunningham in the building saying, what's up, Stormy? What's good with you, man? Good to see you all out here early this morning. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way in. Yes, another Answering the Bell. So when the sun rose today and I opened my eyes up, I said my prayers, and I wanted to say thank you for another day, and thank you all for joining me on this ride. So never forget to count your blessings. Never forget. What's good, man? You know, when I sit here, I keep drinks next to me. I have water, I have iced tea. Sometimes I have a little mineral water, sparkling mineral water. Because you'd be surprised when you sit here and you speak over a microphone and you talk. It's like, man, you can like get very parched and dehydrated or something. So I always keep something with me when I go on the mic on the live streams. So, and I'm learning that you have to take pauses as well, not just run on and run on and run on, but allow things to sink in. And if you have a listening audience, allow them a chance to respond, wait for their responses, and allow the whole circumstance to be a reciprocal operation. Yeah, we must do those things. Salute to my brother CB Sports TV in the building, saying salute, Stormy B. What's good with you, CB, man? Good to see you as well this morning, brother. Good to see you. I am truly fortunate, glad to be here with you all. I'm glad to have you here with me. Yeah. Let's see what we got. '88 is in the building now as well, saying, Stormy B, man, salute, family. 100. Yes, sir. Salute to you, 88. Man, 88 be making the rounds, bro. I be seeing you everywhere. It's like, but I guess I'll be making the rounds too, right? I'm like, looking over there at you. You looking over there at me. It's like, hey, you here too? Yeah. But that's good, man. It's just showing love and support, man, which is something that, you know, we should do out here in the community, right? Be strong as a unit. Huh? Well, yeah, man. Salute to Knockout Boxing 86 TV and KQKC. I was listening to their program before I came on live, and those brothers be talking it up. They have their morning show where they break things down, and I like to just sit while I'm getting ready and everything and tune in. I'll chat sometimes a little bit right in the chat, but it's always good to show that support, you know. Let people know, man. I always speak about leading by example, and that's one of the best ways. Show up, show out. Antonio is out there saying, salute, sensei. Oos. Yes, sir. T. Berry back in the building saying, channel emojis are on the go. That's right, man. Look at that brother out there. T. Berry putting those channel emojis out there. I always like when people use the emojis, man, because it's for you, the channel members, you know. It's like, it's just showing. And they're different ones, you know. You got the Pai Mei. You got Bruce Lee screaming his lungs out. Jackie Chan with a look of bewilderment. Bruce Lee with the sinister smile, or mischievous smile, I should say. And Gordon Liu looking like a little bit serious there. I love my channel emojis, right? You know, those are from the Kung Fu films. I know a lot of y'all ain't into Kung Fu, but you know what? I am. And that's why I use them. Signature says, see that heavyweight get brutally KO'd on a top ranked card? Out cold for several minutes. Yeah, I didn't like that at all, man. And they were talking about that over there on KQ, KC, and Knockout Boxing. You know, I talked about it last night on my post-fight show, man. The U.S. and their boxing card promotions are way behind the UK in dealing with fighters in distress after boxing matches. In the UK, you see doctors ready to go. They're near the ring in just within seconds or whatever. I don't even want to say minutes because they be on top of it. And then you also see them where they have oxygen, always have oxygen ready. Even if a guy didn't get knocked out, if a guy ends a fight and he's just shop worn or whatever, they'll get in there and put oxygen on the guy. And then I can't say enough about the attentiveness in them getting people prepared to leave the ring, whether it calls for a stretcher, a wheelchair, or something like that. They always have it ready to go. In the U.S. here, they make these fighters get up and walk out of the ring, walk down the stairs, and walk back to the dressing room. It's like, really? The man couldn't even beat the count to get back on his feet, and you want him to do all of that? There's no exam to see if his motor skills are... Oh, man. I don't want to start to show off, you know, dwelling in that, but it's really something that even if you're a boxing, you know, supporter, again, we talk about the power of emails and things of that nature. Man, y'all could email Top Rank, PBC, any of these American promotional companies that show fights on television, and speak about your displeasure and how they're handling fighters who end up in traumatic situations after the fights and how they're handled. It's not good. 88 is laughing from earlier. He says, yeah, fam, I got to show the love. We do be at the same spots. And that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that, man. We got to support each other like that. Yeah. Signature Sound says, yeah, Stitch Duran was the head healthcare provider there. Crazy. And Stitch is a guy who I've heard him in interviews. I don't know him personally, but he's always spoken about when he's been hired by a particular corner, he will work to that person's best interest health-wise to the best of his abilities and capabilities. And he showed that last night. That man wasn't even in his corner or whatever, but it's like he was trying to help. But who the hell was that referee, man? That referee couldn't see that man was in distress and couldn't at least turn him over on his back and take the mouthpiece out of his mouth so air could get in? Throw his ass out of there. That referee. Throw him out. Right with the trash or the, toilet paper that you flush. Yeah, throw him out. He's of no use in boxing. None. None. But yeah, man. You deal with, crucial matters harshly. Deal with them. These dudes up out of there that don't belong, man. He hanging around for somebody to slip him a note. Hey, we want to make sure that this fight goes this way. Well, you know what? You're in it for the wrong reasons, buddy. Get the hell out of here. Get out. Says we got 13 watching now, but I don't think that's 13 people in the chat. Come on, chat. Show your love. Show up. Show up. Say good morning. Huh? You were blessed to be here. Might as well spread the cheer. Huh? That's what you do, man. Get out there and say, moaning, like my man Art Hostage does. Moaning from the UK. I like Art Hostage, man. Man, he be dropping. He be dropping info like a mug, bro. It's like some of the stuff he talk about, I don't even know. I just was listening to it because he be updating, and man, the seedy side of things, Art Hostage got it covered, man, from the UK. If you guys haven't subscribed to that man, you should check him out. Then decide if you're going to subscribe, because it's like some of the stuff you just don't know because you're not familiar with the culture. But it's always nice when somebody, share that, share that love. Salute to Ruth Ann Panchard, who just subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the Stormybman family, Ruth Ann. I hope you enjoy your time here. We try to do the best that we can for our subscribers and members here on Stormybman's channel. 88 is laughing because I said a note. Yeah, them little paper things. He's sitting around waiting for them, to line his pocket. He need to be lying on the canvas next to that fighter that he wasn't helping. Somebody hit him in the head with a wrench or something. And I'm talking about a real wrench, not the Stormybman channel wrench. Crack his head open. But you sitting up there looking at that man in distress like that. You're the closest person to him and wouldn't lend 1 ounce of a bit of his assistance to him. You're worthless. You're a piece of crap. But you wanted to be a referee. You could tell from the first knockdown that guy's night was going to be very short. And when he got hurt the second time, the referee was so far away from the fighting action because of what had just happened. He should have been lurking around nearer, right? The dude had to take a taxi to get to the scene. Huh? The hell out of here, man. Salute to 88 for that comment on the note. We got Boxing and Barbecue in the building. What's good with you, Boxing and Barbecue? He says, good morning, Stormy. The Messenger 215 out there saying salute. Antonio was laughing at something I said earlier. Bert saying good mowing. Moaning. Peace, OG, and peace to the chat. Theseus GQ out there saying, good morning, salute. Bert say, I'm listening. Big Texas, ATX, Cletus Smith is in the building saying, salute, Sensei. Come on, Cletus. Come on. What's good with you, bro? He says, salute to the whole chat fam. And okay, I'm flubbing over my words. Dwayne Jones saying, bless up from the mighty ATL. C99 says, yeah, I couldn't even watch that. Hey, man, just think about if you were a family member or a close friend or something like that, right? And you have to watch that. And the worst part of it is you see the young man getting his head handed to him royally, but then you see the incompetence of the referee and the lack of attentiveness in getting swift medical assistance to the guy. That's the worst part. That's the worst. That's why I'm coming out, on that ref, like, let that dude have it, man. Let him have it. Who the hell is he? Don't ever want to see him near a boxing ring again, but they'll probably have him in on the very next broadcast and the first fight of the show, of the broadcast. That's how they do things. Just to buck the system, because enough of us don't complain in the proper way. So they try to, that's their way of exercising their right to say, we do what we want. Huh? Not if it's one of our relatives or something in there. See, that's when you start finding out who makes those judgment calls. Who's responsible for saying, we don't need oxygen ringside. We don't need a medical person ringside. They'll always call a doctor up for a fight where somebody's cut may alter the fight, right? Sometimes when the cut might not alter a fight, they still calling some stupid doctor up there, and we don't know what the credentials of the guy is, and he's looking at the person's eye and he's rubbing it with tissue and he's like, let it go, or you should stop it, and becoming an influence on a boxing match that you shouldn't be, huh? But where the hell are you guys when someone is on the canvas like that young man last night? Where's that guy? Huh? Where he at? At the concession stand buying cheeseburgers or something? Get the hell out of here. C99 says, yeah, that ref needs to be fired for sure. 88 says, bro, they needed to be on that ASAP. Dude was sleeping face down and he couldn't breathe. He couldn't get oxygen. Do you know every second counts when you go unconscious? Because if you stop breathing, the brain lack of oxygen, what happens is there's a certain amount of time that you have that oxygen from the brain is cut off and it's over for you. And in a boxing match, that could be within less than minutes and seconds because you're taking punishment to the head. Do you know some people have been concussed and knocked out and still be functioning? Anybody ever see Vincent Petway and Simon Brown? When Petway knocked out Simon Brown was laying on the canvas and he was still throwing jabs, but he was unconscious. At the time it happened, we were like, whoa, and laughing a little bit, but it wasn't funny in hindsight because it was like the man was in a dream world. He was laying flat on his back, still throwing jabs. Go highlight that fight and pull it up. You'll see it for yourself if you never watched it. I saw it when it was live. It was like one of the most horrific things. '88 said, bro, they needed to be on that dude ASAP. He was sleeping face down. I read that. Signature Sound says he took a vicious blow while on one knee in the first knockdown and the ref did nothing there. Right. You're absolutely right, Signature, on that. And I saw that and thought the same thing, but everything was happening so fast. It was like, and I knew the fight was going to be over shortly. Talib says, I couldn't believe that ref in that Gary Russell fight. Antoine was going to stop him, but let us see it. Yeah. Now, see, that's a situation where, again, the total opposite, right? A referee jumping in and inserting himself in the situation. Listen, Gary Anton, even when he was in there in the previous fight, he jumped in there and stopped the fight before the guy landed the finishing blow or whatever, or to knock the guy down. But this ref couldn't tell that that young man last night needed help, needed intervention. These people are crazy, bro. Kwee in the building. What's good with you, Kwee? She says, what's happening? She's got those channel emojis going as well. Appreciate you, Kwee. Thank you for that. Bert says 100. He says his brain was offline. It sure was, but his nervous system was going. Yeah, Simon Brown. Psh. Says, I remember it clearly, OG. Simon Brown, yeah. Listen, man, when Ray Mercer beat Tommy Morrison to death almost, when Tommy went back to the corner, he was sitting on his stool and all his people were gathered around him and everything, and they kept telling him, Tommy, put your hands down. Tommy Morrison was wiping his nose with his glove like this and still bobbing and weaving like this. They was like, Tommy, put your hands down. He was still bobbing and weaving. He thought the fight was still going on. Ray Mercer had pummeled that guy so badly. And he was, you know, that was horrible, man. Jason William in the building saying, peace, Stormy B, and peace to everyone in attendance. Kwee says, in the kitchen getting ready for this barbecue. I still can't cook, though. Man, Kwee, man, you lucky I don't live out there, man. It'll be called Weekends at Kwee's for the food. You understand? That's what that would be, because I'd be right over there, you know. More, please. Plate empty. Get me some of that food, man. I know you can cook. Huh? Hey. Get some of that barbecue, man. Sausages and tips. And chops. Man. You know, I'm a fat dude too, man. You ain't said nothing but talk dirty to me when you mention barbecue, Kwee. You see, I done got all sidetracked. That's just like when them freaks, when you mention something of sex or porn or something, they get all aroused and everything, go to rubbing their nipples and shit. It's like, I get like that when you talk about food. I'm like, oh, really? Talk dirty to me. What kind of sauce you got? Is it dripping? Yeah. She said, I just made my barbecue baked beans. C99 is laughing. Kwee cracking up too. 88 cracking up. Hey, man, I ain't ashamed. See, some people try to act all prideful, right? Be like, I know I could stand to lose a couple of pounds, but everything in its right proportions. Forget that. Stack my plate, Joe. Stack my plate. I might not eat it all, but I want it there just in case I have to take a break and come back. Huh? Yeah. You call time out. Time out. Time out. Brrr. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to go back in there. Oh, man. Man, when we was in high school, we used to go on them like trips and stuff. We'd be on the bus singing songs and talking about each other, playing the dozens. And it was these two fat brothers, and they talked about each other, being so fat and this and that. And I'll never forget this joke. The guy told the guy, he said, man, you so fat, you sit at the table until you eat so much until your stomach busts, and then you pass out, you be through. The guy said, what? He's like, man, you so fat, you sit at the table, your stomach busts, you got people on standby to help sew it back up so you can get back in there and keep going. Now that's a fat mug. That's a fat mug right there. He know his stomach gonna burst, but he gonna have somebody on standby, some doctors or whatever. It's like, hey, clear. It's like he getting ready to come back for another go round. Man, what is that? What is that? Listen, fat people make the world go round, man. The world wouldn't be fun without them, okay? And I'm one of them. So just let that be known. It's good to see all the smiley faces out there. You guys cracking up. You got me cracking up too, man. Signature Sound says, shoot, I already prepped the chicken to grill later. You didn't have to remind me on this run. Listen, man, I wasn't able to make it to the LDBC meet and greet, but when they were showing everybody who showed up there, I was like, man, I hope they had enough food, because them some big brothers in there. It's like, you can't come in there with no damn finger sandwiches, huh? You better have some buckets of chicken up in that mug. It's like, all them brothers up in there. And don't let one of them say something like, I'm still hungry. It's like, man. Yeah. But y'all know I'm telling the truth, right? It's like, man, that's crazy, bro. Brothers be up in there. They only had enough room sitting next to each other that the elbows could go like this. Put that food up in the mouth and the elbow go like that. Yeah, to space them guys out. That's why they have some here in the shot. When they have picnics and stuff, they be out in the park by the lake and stuff, so they can spread out, man. Spread out. Look at that. Look at that. Bert says, LDBC got big old dudes. He says a lot. He said linebackers, then boxing community. Man, yeah. Some big brothers, man. The grocery bill alone. I mean, like, you talking about tickets to a fight. That's why a lot of people can't make it to the fights, because they got to hit that grocery bill. gotta hit that grocery bill, man. It's like, let me think. Can I get, no, I need that $250 because I got to get them slab of ribs for Memorial Day. Yeah, man. Y'all know. Y'all know I ain't lying, man. I just say it because don't nobody want to say it, right? That's one thing about me. I've always had no filter when it comes to saying that stuff. It just roll off the top of your head. It's like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 say that. It's like, damn, man, I don't believe you said that. Yep. Bert still cracking up. C99 says, that was my uncle yesterday. I'm still hungry. I said, man, you just ate 3 hamburgers, man. Hey, C99. Now tell me, am I lying when I say this? Didn't he have like a serious ass look on his face when he said that? Huh? He didn't say it with a smile. He didn't have a smirk or even a look of like, disappointment. He just had a serious look like, man, I'm still hungry. And he looking around, seeing what's on other people's plates and stuff. Tell me I'm lying. Wasn't he doing that? Still a piece of hamburger on his tooth. He's talking about, oh, I'm still hungry. Man, I'm telling you, bro. But I just, it's funny, man. Yeah, see, C99 says, totally serious. See, I told you. I know, man. I've been there. I walked that path. You know what I'm saying? I can relate. Quee cracking up. Man, it is so funny, man. When you recognize things in people, right? And then you just think about it and it's like, man, that's me, that's me. Yeah, right? Hey. 88 says, Stormy B, man, you crazy. It's like, man. I told 78, man, I'm going to have to come up there, to Milwaukee. It's just a couple hours drive. Hang out with him, take me to some spots to eat. But see, now he talking about he on the diet trying to drop some weight. I'm like, man, no, we gotta go and, get that eat on, bro. Don't you know when you sit down and eat and you talk and chill with friends and family and stuff, that's some of the best times, man, you can have. Cause it's like, what's more fun than sitting down over a good meal, huh? Yeah. Salute to you, Picasso. I hear you out there, bro. He says, salute everybody. I'm driving right now. Quee still laughing. But I'm going to have to make it out there. Quee, you in Texas, right? What part? Because I'm going to have to come out there, man. A weekend and be over there and just get some of that barbecue, man. Got to do that. Especially for any of y'all that's got that like down home cooking thing going on in your towns. That's here in the Chi, that's always places to eat here. It's like, man, I'm ready to try some new spots, new areas, huh? But let me tell you, man. You tell me, hey, this place here got some good whatever. I'm like, okay, let's hit it up. Now, if it ain't, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to be mad because I'm going to be like, man, don't take me and the food ain't hitting like it's supposed to. Huh? Yeah. Don't take me somewhere and the food ain't really good. Cause I'm gonna be like, man, what is it? I'm gonna be like,
man, this is some bullshit.
Don't take me. I want to know what's really good, huh? Pulling me out. Yeah, boy. C99 says, yeah, we had a good time yesterday eating and laughing. That's what life is all about. T-Berry says, Stormy, what's your favorite pizza joint in the city? Well, here, there's like three places that I like. There's a place called Paisanos. They have a nice thin crust pizza. A place out in the suburbs that's in Westchester, Illinois called Rocky's. They have a darn good pizza, and that's a mom and pops type pizza place. Very good place there. And then there's another place that I've tried, but maybe I should just say that Paisanos and Rockies, those two are two of my favorites, man. Yeah. I love those places, you know. And I'm not really big on deep dish or stuffed pizza. I'm not big on that at all. Because I know some people, when they think about Chicago pizza, that's what they think about. But no, I love thin crust, you know. I like the crust well done. If that crust is kind of buttery like, I like that. I like a lot of sauce. If the sauce is good and tangy and flavorful. I don't like that sauce that's sweet, because it should be tangy, not sweet. Huh? And just moderate cheese. Not too much cheese. Moderate. Yeah, man. That deep dish is not, you know, that whoever came up with that, there was something new to try. Like people who want to put pineapple on the pizza. I don't eat that crap. You know what I mean? But thin crust, man. And that thin crust, I like the edge piece and the center piece. Man. Right, T-Berry? I don't have to have all the centerpieces, but I got to get me at least one of them. Just one. You know? Yeah, there's a Waldo Cooney's out here by me, T-Berry, because I'm right outside of Oak Park, right? And there's a Waldo Cooney's there. It's like in Berwyn, but it's right off of Cermak. And I've had their pizza a couple of times. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. He says definitely got to have the centerpieces, right? That makes a difference, man. Having those centerpieces. If they don't save you a centerpiece, man, they not your friends. And if they ain't no friends, you know what it means? Listen.
For my own sake, I can't afford to call you my comrade. You're gonna die.
Man, listen, I be clowning, right? I be clowning, but hey, those kind of things, man. Just don't try to shortchange me on my pizza, bro. And we good. Nobody dies. Everybody get to go home, huh? Under their own power. Well, I guess I should go ahead and open it up for the call-in, right? It's like this is the call-in show. And now that I done warmed y'all up with my comedic talents, you know, I guess we can have some people call in and let's talk about some boxing, huh? We got the Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall fight coming up very soon. What do you guys think about that? You got King Kong Ortiz and Andy Ruiz Jr. next week, huh? Yeah. Man. What we got here? We got first call of the day. Let's see what we got. All right, we got 518 in the building. Is that K-Rod? What's good with you?
Yo, how's it going?
What's up?
Did I not get my little intro?
No, man, because you seem to not appreciate it. So it's like, I'm throwing you back in the ranks now.
What?
Yeah, you didn't. Hey, you was all mundane about it and everything. Especially that last time you called in, you was kind of like, I was like, why was you sounding so down and all that? Don't you remember me saying that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Because you didn't call in last week, so go back to 2 weeks ago to show you was the first call. But we ain't letting that type of energy handle this week, man. What's good with you? What you want to talk about?
Yeah, like I just wanted to just recap on Jose Pedraza versus Coleman, and just talk about Jared Anderson, and I think like the Tiger Johnson fight, and that's about it.
Yeah, I missed the Tiger Johnson because I was on a live with Drew Titan. He did a quick live yesterday that was unscheduled. So I missed the Tiger Johnson fight, and I think he was coming to the ring just as I went on live with Drew. Yes.
Yeah, he did a very good job. He broke that guy down and destroyed him.
Yeah, I feel like most of the guys that fought in those undercard fights last night, including the main card, they were all gross mismatches. And I don't like that from Top Rank because they could put on better fights, but we almost ended up with a tragic situation last night as a result of them horribly overmatching guys who didn't deserve to be in the ring with the Top Rank fighters. That Torres fight, I was talking about that here. Richard Torres, he's a talent. He's a former Olympic silver medalist and everything. First silver medalist since Riddick Bowe, actually. And Bowe was in the 88 Olympics. So that's how long ago that was. But it would be good to see them move him a different way. But most of those guys on the undercards last night were grossly overmatched, meaning the opponents. They were grossly overmatched. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I was just about to say that. I kind of felt like those fights were very fixed, and I felt like, if you put them up against tougher level opposition that had about the same record as them, I think they probably would have got stopped. You know, the way they fought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just don't like top rank matchmaking because I don't know if I told you that I've been to like 2 top rank fights. I've been to the Joe Smith Jr. Steve Gefford fight, and I've been to the Berlanka one. You know, that was back in June. But I can easily tell that the fights are just like mismatches because it's like the minute I see somebody get hurt really bad by just like a single, like in a standard punch, it's just like I kind of feel like that. You know, there's already like a set. Like, you know, like there's already, you know, like a setup made for the fight to make sure that the fighter wins, and I just find that to be really crappy matchmaking.
Yeah, and you know something, you're on to something there because in the past it has been reportedly they have great matchmakers over there at Top Rank. I don't think it's so much about their matchmaking. I think it's about how they feature young fighters and get them regular, activity, where they can be showcased in undercard circumstances. But a lot of the times, they're not facing people who could possibly upset them or defeat them. And that is where the development process is really, I think the development process is put on hold. I think that after a guy gets like 4 or 5 fights under his belt, it's time to start moving him to where he learns that, he's going to have to go rounds. He's going to have to start facing different styles. He's going to have to, if you're orthodox, you're going to have to face some southpaws. If you're a southpaw, you're going to have to face some southpaws because southpaws will fight more orthodox fighters than orthodox will fight southpaws. But the other part of that is southpaws need to learn how to fight other southpaws. So that's going to be interesting. And someone brought this to my attention because I was recently talking about King Kong Ortiz and Charles Martin. Charles Martin was having a good go in there with Ortiz. It may have been because King Kong and he were both southpaws. I hadn't even thought about it like that, but it's true. They were both southpaws, and it was probably a little bit difficult for King Kong because, Charles was a southpaw. I hadn't given much thought to that. Your thoughts, K-Rod, on the point of what I made about Top Rank and the matchmaking and getting guys fights.
Yeah, I just don't like their matchmaking. I think if I'm paying big money to go all the way out to a venue just to see 2 guys fight each other, it should at least go the full distance, or it should be like a good fight until somebody gets knocked out to a correct stoppage. Because I feel like stoppages nowadays, I don't know if you can agree, is just that referees are more very cowardice to stop a fight that's a good fight. But if it's a really, really bad fight where, I'll even use the YouTube undercard fight that happened yesterday with KSI. I think he fought that Mexican dude, Pineda, but he knocked him down 5-6 times, and the referee just didn't even wave it off. But it's if you compare that to any other real professional boxing fight in the past, or in recent real time, there's been plenty of fighters that just get beat up so bad to the point where the referee doesn't even stop it. And it's if the fighter can't continue, you have to stop the fight right away, because it's I don't want to see somebody get killed, in the ring, but it's that's not funny. And I guess another good example would be Richard Torres versus Canedo. Canedo was not supposed to be the right opponent for him to get stopped. I personally feel if I'm gonna see somebody get knocked out, it should be a good competitive opponent rather than some guy that's just coming in to lay down and just get stopped.
Yeah. And what'd you think about the referee in that fight with Torres?
He was horrible. He should be thrown in jail. Absolutely horrible. Crappy refereeing, no proper medical staff to be right there for Canedo. I felt bad for Canedo more than I felt bad for, you know, I guess like the poor refereeing, because it's like the referee should be, you know, extremely trained to the point where, you know, a fighter's safety must be taken care of, you know, like immediately, because Canedo looked like he almost died.
He did. I don't know. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to make that known. I don't know if many of you really realize this, but that man looked very close to death. I've seen deaths in the ring before. He looked very close. And what I was so livid about was that the ref never bothered to help him get over on his back. He just left him face down like that. Man, that upset me so bad, bro. Woo.
Yeah, because I don't understand why they let him just, you know, get knocked out flat on his face. I don't think that was a very smart decision by the refereeing, and I think commission should be sued for that too, because, you know, obviously the state plays like a major role in interfering with boxing like events, but it's like not having like a proper medical staff to be there right away when somebody gets blown out like that. You know, I don't like to see that. You know, like I don't want to pay my hard-earned money to go see somebody get killed.
Right. And I want to say salute to some people who fell into the building. We got JC out there. He's saying salute Sensei in chat. I'm moving but listening. Big Dog Willie is in the building now. He's pumping up Khan as usual. He says salute to the Sensei. And TS Boxing in the building says that whole squad of Keyshawn Davis, Delaney Johnson, Troy Isley, Jared Anderson, Richard Torrey are way too high up these cards. I'm tired of seeing mismatch after mismatch. Yeah, I agree with that, TS Boxing. And Aaron Butler in the building saying salute, LDBC. And T. Berry says Jared Anderson should start fighting ranked fighters. Absolutely. He's way past due now. Way past due. And, you know, K-Rod, to talk about those guys, you know, and that's kind of like what I've been saying, but it's pretty much, it fits the same thing, you know, where I said that so many of these guys, if you look at them on paper, those guys that they're fighting don't have a chance. It's time for that to stop. You can give me one or two of those kind of matches, but a card of them? No. And we just watched Philippe Hergovic and Zili Zhang fight a rough tumble heavyweight fight for 10, 12 rounds, whatever it was scheduled. And those two men, Hergovic got knocked down for the first time in his career. And it was a tough battle for both. Most people thought that Zhang won the fight and Hergovic got the decision. But it's time for Jared Anderson to get in the ring with guys like that, because this is how we're going to find out what you really have. All that boasting about sparring Tyson Fury and dropping them and all, whatever. What happens in the gym stays in the gym. We want to see you in the ring active. And I'm not crapping on Jared Anderson. I'm just saying he's talented enough to leave what they're doing right now behind and go to a new stage of his career. You know? Because everything, if it continues with what's happening, that's just padding the stats. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think too high off of these fighters that train out in the Midwestern states, out in Colorado, where I believe, like, you know, all the top-ranked headquarters are. But it's like, I don't really buy into that crap. You know, it's either, you know, if you're like a good fighter, you shouldn't be taking, you know, low-level tune-up fights. You should be going in there with, you know, dangerous level opposition. And you know, a great example of that would be Devin Haney. Like, no, he's not, like, you know, he's not taking those tune-ups. He wants to fight everybody. He wants to stay active, but it's like the fact that he has to get frozen out, almost similar to Gary Russell in a way, where, You know, he wants to get big fights, but you know, to each his own. It's like if you're the more hungrier, active fighter that wants to be the hunter that's soon to be the hunted, then you should be the one actively, aggressively getting these fights made. Otherwise, you know, if you're fine, you know, fighting, you know, the level of your competition to your balance, then that's not going to help you get better. And I just don't think Jared Anderson is that good. I don't think he has, you know, what it takes to really hang in there, with, you know, with the upper echelon. But I would rather like to see it now, though, you know, rather than later, because I just don't think Big Baby is, you know, crediting his skill set more by fighting guys that we already know he's just gonna beat up and, you know, potentially knock out. I don't care that he's getting all these knockouts. I don't see him getting any better, because it's like the evolution of your skill set should be determined by the high tier level of your competition that you're fighting to help you get better.
Man, I'm on my OBS right now. I'm not on StreamYard with my broadcast, but if I were on StreamYard, I would put this comment on the screen, because this right here cuts straight to what the problem may be. JC is out there in the chat. He says, Sensei, do you think these outmatched cards are because they are intentionally pushing more knockouts instead of quality fights? Brother, that's a mic drop right there. Yes, they are marketing the sport of knocking folks out and everything instead of putting on quality matches, and that really waters the sport down, because it's the equivalent of, if you're in the NBA, being only interested in the three-point shot or some kind of spectacular dunk. You're not looking at the game, the passing, setting screens, you know, running a play and executing it to perfection. You're not thinking about those, you know, aspects, rebounding, blocking out, you know, defending, you know, making defensive plays where a team has to try to break your defense down and not just fouling people. And you know, that aspect of the sport is a tremendous thing to consider when they are going to televise a bout. They're thinking, oh, if we televise this kid, he's 20 years old and he's knocking people out. He's on a 6-fight knockout streak. They think that's going to sell. But I'm going to tell you something. That is not true at all. Boxing sells most when it is competitive matches against two entities in there, and it becomes a war of wills and skills, where someone is able to dig deep and just best the other guy. When you have to reach down or make an adjustment to the other guy's adjustment and you do something to prevail, that's compelling. And that's just nature. You could see two rams in the woods clashing into each other and everything over and over again. You will stop for a couple of minutes and look at it, because it's like the battle between the two forces. You just want to see what's going to happen. Is something going to break? Is one of them going to break? It's when you tune in to boxing, you could be scamming through the channels and it's a boxing match on and you're watching it, and one guy is like really going for it and the other guy is slick and, you know, defending himself, making the guy miss, and say, you're like, man, this is pretty cool. Let me watch this. You'll sit there and watch it to the end. So they, in this fast food era, think that the masses just want something of no substance. But that's not true. And they've put that delusion on the fighters as well. The influence of that delusion is the fighters just want to continue to beat up on guys who don't belong in the ring with them. I'm 16-0 with 14 knockouts. But who were you knocking out? Do you know, in the big fights, like you got a fight with Crawford and Spence that people want to see so badly. That's a big fight. Typically, those kind of fights That's not a knockout. Typically, those guys will bring the best of what they have. They're mentally focused and sharp as much as they can be, because they don't want to look bad against the other guy. They don't want the other guy to be better than them, whatever. So they're going to be on their P's and Q's, and typically it's going to go to a decision. Typically. Well, again, that's what you sell the sport on, the quality of it, not the spectacular razzle dazzle of it. Every time you go to a baseball game, there's not a home run. Every time you go to a boxing match, there should not necessarily be a knockout, but you should see competitive matches every time. Why? Because it's pro boxing. It's not pro tomato cans, right? I'm sorry, man. I went on a rant and tangent there, but go ahead, K-Rod.
Yeah, like, I just think, honestly, like, if I'm paying all this money to go see, like, a good card, like, you know, for example, Deontay Wilder, like, you know, if I go to see Deontay Wilder fight card, I would expect the card to be super loaded or super stacked. And the good thing about PBC fight cards is that they're giving you 50-50 matchups. You know, Al Heyman, he's not stupid. He's, like, you know, he's going to get these guys, you know, matched up right. But it's not like, you know, you're going there to go see somebody just lay down. You're going to go see, like, a somewhat competitive, if not 50-50, you know, close matchup fight. But compared to, like, any other fight card that, you know, I personally been to, you know, I can say from my own personal viewing experience that I feel like PBC would out better Top Rank in his own cards any day of the week, because to me, I feel like I'm paying for, you know, for mismatches every time I go to their fight cards. And, like, you know, like, it's always fun to go see, like, the young talent out there, but it's like, I don't want to see no, you know, Mr. Jahai Tucker knocking out some, like, you know, tomato can bum. I want to see Jahai Tucker get knocked out or potentially get into, like, a barn burner fight. But it's like, that's, like, my typical impression of how I see those cards, because it's like, you're basically scamming me for my money for fights that I shouldn't even need to be showing up in person for.
Yeah. And salute to my man, I am Trill Will out there. I think Trill Will finally crossed that 1K, man, and congratulations to you if that was if I heard that correctly. Salute to you, bro. And Signature Sound says they're doing it with Berlanga too, diluting the product. Casuals thinking it's pure. Aaron Butler says, you know, prayers on that. C99 says exactly, a war of wills. That's it. That's boxing. Votes UK in the building says, is Jarrett ranked in any sanctioning bodies yet, Stormybman? I don't know if he is. I haven't checked the ratings. And Jose Diaz, salute to you, Jose, says, very well put. You know, and let this be the segue into the main event from last night, K-Rod, and then we'll wrap up the comments on that and see if someone else would like to call in. Pedraza and Comey. Give me your thoughts on that fight and what you saw.
Yeah, I will. Like, I'm gonna try to be non-biased as possible, but man, I thought Pedraza, he looked a little bit sloppy, but he came back very, very strong in that fight. Richard Coleman, he did a very good job early game, but mid to late game, he just, you know, basically gassed out, and he didn't look like he had too many tools left. And I thought Pedraza, like, you know, edged out the later portion of those rounds to possibly win like a 6-4 decision. But I thought the fight was only competitive early game until Comey gassed out, and then Pedraza, he had a second and third gear to potentially solidify the victory.
Yeah. I scored the fight 7-3 Pedraza. And the second and third rounds were very strong for Comey. Pedraza came back and took, to me, the fourth and fifth. And then in the 6th round, they had a situation, I think, or whatever, where they had that head clash, and it caused that cut over Comey's eye. And from that point on, it seemed like Comey just was like disinterested, or he was pawing at his eye a lot, and he just didn't really seem to be into it as he was within those first 4 rounds. And something also took place within the first 4 rounds of Comey's success. Pedraza switched to southpaw, and Comey was never landing again like he was prior. You know, he was having some advantages where he was getting to Pedraza pretty good early on, but the same shots weren't landing with the same type of frequency or even accuracy. And I think the change and switch over to southpaw for Pedraza caused Comey problems that he wasn't able to deal with. And he was not busy enough from the middle rounds on through to the end of the fight. I think that Pedraza picked up the activity, and once he stopped trying to like really hurt Comey and just letting his hands go, scoring with points, it became more favorable for him. But the judge that had Comey winning the fight, again, that smacks of corruption to me. And it wasn't so much of like someone wanting Comey to win, but it's like it's throwing the wrench into the situation of it being a clear winner. How do you take the guy who did not do what he needed to do to have him in a close victory, and then the other 2 judges had the other guy clearly? To me, that's corrupt, because and it's not like you know what the other judges are going to do, or do they? But it was scored in a sense that I could not give all of those rounds like that to Comey. If you wanted to just say it's a draw for Comey, say that, but don't put him ahead in a fight when he didn't go ahead, especially in the cleanup rounds. I have a problem with that, because when you look at it, you go back and you watch the fight, there were moments of lulls that Comey had, and Pedraza was getting busy. You have to give the credit to the fighter who is busy, and not just someone who's coming after. See, that thing about like he was putting the pressure on or whatever. Yeah, he put pressure at times, but it wasn't effective pressure. And Pedraza was doing enough to get the hell up out of there, get out of his way, and stop making it easy for him to make contact, which is what he's supposed to do. Now, where is the excellent coaching from Mr. Rozier? I don't know, because there was supposed to be some adjustments by Comey to the other guy, but he did yell at him after that 8th or 9th round when he was like, why'd you give that round away like that? Why did you do that? That's his own trainer saying that. So what the hell are these judges looking at? That they would give him the fight, that one would give him a fight. So I don't know. And it just, that's the way I saw that, and I didn't like it at all.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but I don't think.
Go ahead.
No, like I was just gonna finalize just to say I don't think Comey is gonna be that good at 140 anyway, because his power doesn't really translate that well, and that's basically his only chances of trying to beat any top fighters in the division. But I think that's it for him.
Well, the thing about not having power, there have been plenty of fighters in boxing history who didn't have a lot of power, but they had a hell of a lot of victories. That's because of boxing skill. And that's what won Pedraza the fight last night. He was more skillful than Comey. To me, it was clear cut. Comey's opportunity would have come in trying to get the guy out of there. he was not going to win a boxing contest. Who's the better boxer there? It's clearly Pedraza. And that's Rozier's fault. Because you can't go into every fight thinking you're going to knock the other guy out. Why did they take the fight against Vasily Lomachenko? There's no way in hell that Comey was going to outbox him, right? And what happened? A better boxer who had a different type of set of skills and who knew how to press and pick it up and let it down even more so than Pedraza made Comey look like an amateur in there. If Pedraza had more of a ring IQ, he could have done some different things and put a greater divide of separation between them last night. But I don't think he lost the fight. I think that he won the fight. And there are some fighters that he can have a great boxing match against in that division. I'd be ready to see it.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, man, I want to say, thanks for calling in, and we're going to see if we can get some more calls in here, see what's happening with the people, what's on their minds.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you for the call.
All right. Thank you. All right. Peace.
Thank you.
All right. We had K-Rod call in this morning. The lines are open again. Let's see who we could get. If someone else would like to call in and give their thoughts and sentiments on what they saw last night, what they're looking forward to in the near future. What's what? '88, you want to call in, bro? Trill Will, if you're still out there, I know you're going to be doing your show in a couple minutes. You could call in if you're still out there. TS Boxing. Dodge J, if you're still in the building, you asked a question earlier. Have I gone to Slutty Vegan out there in Chicago? I hear the food is amazing. I haven't heard of that place. I didn't know about that, and I'll have to look into it. It's a place to eat. So, Stormy going to have to do his investigating. Signature's asking, am I familiar with old school Chicago rap crews? Illinois State Assassins, D.A. Smart, etc. You know what? I was never really big on rap, man. I'm a R&B dude, old school Dusties. Herb Kent flows through my veins, you know what I'm saying? So, not really. And that's not to, throw gas on anybody. It's just that, if you watch my Beats with Sugar show, it's like you hear the kind of music that I be talking about on there. You ain't gonna never hear us talking about rap on there. Never, ever. Okay? Yeah. Okay, Dodge J, you still out there? Yeah, I haven't seen that place. But I'm going to have to look into it because, the taste test is necessary. Yeah. All right, man. What's good? The Sunday call-in show, man, is an open topic type of deal, man. You could call in if you want, Art, man, and we can talk about some things. I know you always have plenty of stuff to update and let people know about. So if you want to call in just so we can have a conversation over the airwaves, you're more than welcome, bro. That's the number right there on the screen. What's good with you, Tay? I see you out there, bro. What's good with you? PGH Big Dog in the building as well. Hello, world. Yeah, man. Hey, the lines are open. One of y'all could call in. We could have a conversation, man. That's what the call-in show is all about, you know. Yeah, I would love to have one of you guys call in, man. That's, you know, K-Rod, when he calls in, we talk about several subjects, and that drives it actually drives the conversation forward when you do that. So that's the whole point of it all. You know, just good stuff. Antonio says, I'm about to be at the gym, MMA, sparring Sunday. Salute, Sensei. I'm going to catch the rest on replay. Salute, chat family. Salute to you, bro. Salute to you, man. T. Berry says, Pac-Man was good. Let's see. Yeah. I know Drew Titan said that later today he may not do his live. I might come back later today and do something in Drew's time slot, and maybe I'll open the panel up to have some people on. That way we can stretch things out a little further, you know. But that's a good way to kind of help supplement what's going on with the brother. Oh, he's got some family things to deal with, Tay. That's all. It's not that he, you know, it's just, you know, some family stuff he's dealing with. T Berry, I got an appreciation for it, but it's not high, you know, on my list of what I consider when I'm doing music, talking about music or whatever, man. I like the old soul music, man. Soul music is, you know, and anybody could have made soul music, whether they are groups from outside the U.S. or inside the U.S., if it's black groups, white groups, you know what I mean? They did some stuff, man, and we're talking about the 70s and 80s, the music that came, even the 60s, the music that came out during those eras, man. Classic stuff, man. I have a tremendous appreciation for that. Let's see who we got. Okay, we got the brother Tay Jones in the building. What's going on, Tay? How you doing this afternoon, bro?
Man, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Oh, man, feeling pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good. The energy is very good and high this morning on the show, man.
Oh yeah, how long you been on?
This show kicks off at 10:30 every Sunday. I kick it off. My call-in show is 10:30 every Sunday.
Oh, that's Central Time, huh?
Yeah, 10:30, and then I go to about 12:30. You know, so it's 2 hours, and we just cover the sport. You know, whatever. We did a lot of talking about some non-boxing stuff early on this show this morning, but that's okay as well. The whole idea is to put people on a positive curve, you know, in the morning on a Sunday morning, talking boxing or whatever, you know. And yeah, the call-in show has been very successful too, man. This is number 52 in the series of call-ins, so we've been rolling.
Yeah, what you think about the fight yesterday?
Man, what I was talking about earlier is the fact that a lot of the fights were heavily angled toward the top ranked signed guys, you know, those prospects and everything. But the point I was trying to make was it's time for them to, especially for televised fights, it's time for them to start matching these guys up in competitive matches, not like trying to set them up to lose. But a lot of those fights yesterday, some of those opponents did not belong in the ring with who they were in there with, man.
It's crazy you say that because I know people like myself and you, of course, you know, who you know, and yourself being a trainer and things of that nature. And then, of course, myself, I can tell you all about how a fight will be played out. And it's funny you say that because I said the same thing yesterday when I was live. You know, now granted, Top Rank has put together some nice cards, and then of course they've had some evenly matched fights. You know, whether they were 60-40, 70-30, but towards specific fighters who are there really behind, they would actually get those fighters with guys who have padded resumes and have those guys get in the ring just because it looks good towards the guys on TV. For instance, taking nothing away from Jared Anderson, but there was no reason why that guy, even though he was 24-2, but if you go look at his resume on BoxRec, his first 18 fights was padded. There's no reason that fight should have been on TV. But it was a look good fight for Jared Anderson. Now, Jared Anderson did nothing wrong, but it was the handlers who did everything wrong. That guy shouldn't have been in the ring because you got to ask yourself, when are we finally going to see Jared Anderson go the distance? When are we finally going to see someone who actually wants to fight Jared Anderson back? He's 12 fights in, but remember, I'm not saying push the guy. I'm not saying push him to the wayside or, you know, throw him in the fire, things of that nature. But remember, he was also a big name in the amateurs. So he's a big name in the amateurs, got a hell of an amateur pedigree. So all those things to me knowing what I know about boxing, it raised an eyebrow. You know, and that's one of the main reasons why people, like, I'm not gonna say casuals, but some fans, you know, they don't talk about guys who really grinded like a Big Shot or a Matt Truck or a Najee Lopez or some of the other heavyweights that's in the division. They'll yell Jared Anderson because of the glamour of what they see. You see what I'm saying? But you put Jared Anderson in a tough matchup, then we can really say, oh yeah, Jared Anderson next. But we can't really say Jared Anderson next right now because we haven't really seen, you see what I'm saying? We haven't really seen what he can truly do if he's fighting people with padded records.
Right. And see, that's the thing, because you have to, you know, especially like in the position I'm in, you know, I try to speak with a critical eye, but I don't try to be hurtful or spiteful in my comment, you know, unless the subject deserves it. But when I said what I said about the matchmaking, you know, because we had a question in the chat earlier, are they matchmaking these fights like this just for knockouts, or are they trying to, you know, withhold back from real competitive boxing on, you know, for televised fights? And I went into a conversation on that. I didn't know if you were out there at that time, but that was a great question by JC. I think that was, they left that question in the chat because yes, I think what they've done is they made the choice to think that setting fights up where these young fighters can be promoted off of knockouts, but even though they're not knocking out quality opponents, they think that that could sell the fighters. I said no. For the longest time, what has sold fights is the whole juxtaposition against wills. You know, my will against yours. We're struggling to attain something and get to a certain point. And if I got to go through you to get it, I have to find out if I got what it takes, and vice versa. Right. So, and I gave the analogy of like watching two rams in the woods going against each other. If you were passing by and you saw two rams clashing and they just going over and over, you would stop and watch it for a few minutes before going on your way, because that's nature. It's like it's a transition that takes place between two entities where it is something that's fascinating and compelling at the same time. So in boxing, it's the same way. How many times have you been flipping through the station and found that some boxing was on and it was a good fight because it's kind of a back and forth tug of war, and these two guys, they may be evenly matched or whatever, they have different styles, but the whole thing that brings them to that point is the fact that neither one wants to give up. They want to be the victor, and that will make you sit there and watch the whole thing. But when you watch a guy that could just blow a guy out in 60 seconds or a minute and a half, it was a dude that didn't even belong in the ring with him. You watch that and you be like, oh, and let me go check something else out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a different thing. And I don't think that the promoters of today and matchmakers understand that process anymore. Remember, generations change. The guys at the top are still around, Bob Arum and some of these older people, right? But the young people, remember, young managers and whatever you want to call them, the different people, they think that they know better instead of relying on the experience of what transpired before. What sells is competition. But remember, Tay and Chat and everyone that's watching out there, we also now live in a society where people have come up under participation trophy culture. You get a culture, you get a trophy just for having been there, being part of something. It's like valedictorian don't mean what it used to mean. Prom king and prom queen don't mean what it used to mean. When everybody can be popular, everybody could be the man, everybody could be, oh no, it's one champion in life. It's one winner. It ain't we're all winners. No, we're not. The whole point of winning and losing is to tell you something. It's to teach you a lesson that in order to be successful and be on top, it requires work, effort, things to do to put yourself in that position. It shouldn't just be handed to you.
Right.
You see? And so that's why, you know, with the matchmaking and everything, they thinking padding these guys' records with all these knockouts and stuff like that, that's going to sell. That's not selling anything. Not to someone like me who knows the difference. It's like, oh, he ain't fighting nobody. Jared Big Baby looked good against that guy last night, but he didn't. That guy didn't belong in the ring with him.
Right.
He didn't. Now, if Jared can do that to Danny Dubois, I'll be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but that's a true test. You know, get in there against, I'm tired of hearing, oh, he had good sparring against Tyson Fury. I said this a little earlier, but I'm repeating myself now at this moment. I'm tired of hearing, oh, he had good sessions with Tyson Fury. He may have dropped Fury. So what? That's sparring in the gym. That's sparring in the gym. In a real fight, things can be different.
Right.
Let's see a real fight. Falik Herpovich and Zhilei Zhang just fought last week, and that was a damn good fight between two guys who have been fighting a succession of guys that they're supposed to beat up. Then when they got in there against each other, they was like, oh, he good as me. He's threatening as I am. You understand? And it became a different type of thing. Even though I think the wrong guy got the decision in that fight, it was still a competitive fight because that's the type of fight that is supposed to take place. And then if the guy who loses isn't successful, he has to go back to the drawing board and figure out what does he need to do to be able to correct so he can be successful the next time.
Right.
If you just beating and knocking out guys that don't belong in the ring with you all the time, padding your stats, that you're not learning anything.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of the things that I kept saying to myself. Well, I kept saying on my live last night. I was like, man, you know, Jared Anderson's going to win the fight. He's supposed to. But if you really look at what's really going on, I actually counted how many fights this guy had before he fought his opponent fought a tough fight. He had 18 pro fights before he fought a tough fight. His last fight before he fought Jared Anderson, he fought an 8-round fight against a guy that was 4-2. My guy, you was 24 at the time. You was 23-2. Why are you fighting a 4-2 guy?
Right.
I can't make this up. You know, so again, like I said before, that's why when people ask me who I think is next, I never say what everybody think I'm going to say, just because of what they're doing at the moment. Yeah, Big Baby looks good. You know, I can't despise his work ethic, his credit, simply because Top Rank decides to put that matchup on him. But at the same time, I can't really give him too much full credit of saying, yeah, he's the next heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Because I know there's other guys right now who are heavyweights who are actually having 60-40 fights, who are actually having 50-50 fights. And some guys who don't even supposed to be in certain fights winning those fights. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know. But he definitely has had a name. But, where does he go from here? Do we finally see him? I heard him say Morgan's name. But in order to get those fights, he's got to be ranked in the same category that, ranked in the same WBO. Well, I think he's in the IBF. So he's trying to go the IBF route. But, again, he has to be ranked in the IBF. You got to ask yourself, where is he ranked in the IBF? There's a lot of fighters, like, he can fight F.A. Ajaba, who's on the same side of the street he is. And I think he beat F.A. Ajaba, but at least F.A. Ajaba had fought a guy like Frank Sanchez and another opponent that he fought when he first got to Top Rank. So he can say that, at least I do have two names that people are familiar with. We can't say the same for Jared. You see what I'm saying? Although he only has 12 fights, but still, he has the amateur background. Same thing with Keyshawn Davis. Now Keyshawn Davis was on, I think, 5 or 6 fights. Now he's getting ready to have a step-up fight, in which I know he's going to win. But at least we can say, 5, 6 fights, Keyshawn stepped it up. And if you look at Keyshawn's last fight, that guy wasn't supposed to be in the ring with him.
Right.
Because he is, he could possibly have one goal, but he's a silver medalist. I said the same thing about Shakur Stevenson as well. I said it about a lot of fighters, so it's not like I'm just picking them out. But you can definitely tell on Top Rank who their guy is. The other heavyweight, Torres, you can tell that he's their one of the premier fighters. You can tell that Shakur was. But a lot of fighters who I've seen, who I personally know, take a guy like what's his name, Haven Brady Jr. He was supposed to fight on yesterday's card, right? Because I personally know him, but he's already had 2 step-up fights. He's already fought 2 undefeated fighters. You see what I'm saying? So with them fighting those 2 undefeated fighters already, I go back and look at a guy like Big Baby. I go back and look at, the Keyshawn Davis of the world, the Torres of the world, or some of the other guys. The other Olympic, he's fought some 50-50, 60-40, 50-50 fights. I forget his name, but not Conwell, but the other guy, I forget his name just that quick, because I got so many names trying to roll off my tongue. The Olympian. fight at 154 or 160. You know what I'm talking about?
You talking about what was that again? I didn't hear you.
The 154 guy. I forget his name. He fought on top rank.
Last week?
His name did he fight last? Yeah, he fought last week.
154.
The Transformer.
What is that guy's name?
Prospect guy. I forget his name. He's an Olympian though, but I forget his name just that fast. Because it was on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't think of his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I got my scorecards here from the fights. I'm trying to look on there and see.
I forget his name.
Is that Xander?
No, not a Xander. No, not a Xander. I forget his name, man. He's called Transformer. He just fought. Yeah, he just fought. The Olympian just fought.
Dang, I can't think of his name either.
I know him. His name on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't get it out. But like him, he fought some 60, 40, 50, 50 fights already. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it seems to me that Top Rank picks and chooses who they want to be their premier guy. And I see that from just looking at what's being displayed. Like the guy who's fighting on the Shakur Stevenson undercard. Not Shushu. You know, he was one of the ones that was, putting a tough fight, but he's still early in his career. You see what I'm saying? But he's had one of those fights where it wasn't 50-50, but you can definitely tell that he had to come to fight. Who else?
Is that Troy Isley?
Troy Isley, that's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
yeah. That's Shade Girl. Shade Girl 85 out there in the chat pulled his name up. That's Troy Isley, yeah.
Yeah, Troy Isley. So he's already had some fights. He has a fight to go the distance before. You see what I'm saying? And I'm actually high on him. I'm out of anybody other than the Mason brothers. I'm the most highest on Troy Isley from what I've seen. Who else? Stormy, I can keep going on, but I just see how Top Rank do with the guys who they're really, really behind, the guy that they really, really want to promote. They're going to be the ones to get that pad of record out, and it's been happening. I don't think people paying attention to it. Like I see a lot of people say, man, that was a good card. It was even fights across the board. Yeah, it was even fights across the board, depending on who that name was.
Right. Right. And I have to say this, Tate, it's like until someone goes in there, like the eye test for the casual is like when a guy is out of shape, he got a bit of a belly and stuff like that, or a guy, once the bell rings and you see that the guy don't even throw the punches with proper technique and stuff, you say, oh, he don't belong in there. But see, there are other fighters who have fought a series of fights and they can look like they, are a professional fighter, but that doesn't mean that they equate to who they're in the ring with. You know what I mean? So in that aspect, I think that what's happening is, in order for someone to fight with, like, say, a promotional group like Top Rank that can have you on television, they want you to follow a certain formula. But the formula may not necessarily be for you, because if you want to be active, if you want to move through a progression, like I want to get from here to there because I want to end up here, that kind of thing, then a promoter like Top Rank might not be good for you, because they're going to feed you, like goldfish, and you might be looking for some grouper, or some carp. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is what we're saying. Just because someone's on TV doesn't mean that they are in a quality match. There That kid Xander Zayas, I mentioned his name a moment ago when I thought he was one of the young ones you were talking about. He looks nice. He got some skills and everything. But I also know who they're putting him in there with. You understand? And I also know another young fighter who was reminiscent of that type of talent and everything by the name of Fernando Vargas. Okay? And I remember what happened when they kept putting him in very tough. It eventually tapered off kind of quickly. And that happens. You know, it should be a level of progression. They did the same thing with Meldrick Taylor. Same promotional group, main events. They ruined Meldrick Taylor.
Right.
You know, when a guy has talent, it's great. When he has spirit, desire, heart, if he's dedicated to training and stuff, that's all, man, that's wonderful. But the next thing is for him on his journey, he has to have a level of learning and progression that is married to what his end goals are. And the end goal should always be just beyond reach so that you always have something to reach for. So money and material possessions should never be a part of that. Never.
Right.
Because as soon as you get enough money that you want, everything else is just going to go by the wayside. You become a malcontent. And then it's like, it's over for you.
Right.
So if you have a teacher in the gym that's teaching you, hey, man, the old guys in the old days used to do it this way, and this is why so-and-so became great. This is why so-and-so was able to achieve that. And you start teaching those things, and a person decides to say, hey, I aspire to be like so-and-so because this is what they were able to do. You know what I mean? Then it becomes something different, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely get it. Definitely do. Yeah, man.
What were your thoughts about the Pedraza and Comey fight?
I mean, me personally, I thought Pedraza won 6-4, but it was also when I called the fight live, the third round was really a toss-up round. You know, some people on my channel said it was Comey. I said it was Pedraza, so that was our toss-up round. So when you take that round away and you give it to Richie Comey, then guess what? Now you got a 5-5 fight. So I can see how it was a draw. I really can.
I actually had it 7-3 for Pedraza, and I felt like
I gave Pedraza round one. I gave him round one. I gave him round three. Round three was our toss-up round. But definitely he cut Comey in 7. So 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 4 rounds. So if you add 3 and 1, that's 6 rounds. But if you take away 6 rounds, it's 5-5. Because I definitely did give Comey the second round. I gave him the second round, 4, 5, and 6. Definitely.
But way you're saying it, though, the way you saw it is you either saw it for Pedraza or a draw, right?
Yep.
That's what you now see. My problem was the ref that gave the fight to Comey. There's no way Comey won that fight. He didn't win the fight. He could have inked out a draw, possibly, with finagling with the numbers. But the thing about it is, when Pedraza switched to southpaw, Comey had problems with that. All the success he was having early on went out the window then. And where was the coaching from Mr. Rozier? Because I say this all the time. When a guy makes an adjustment and then the fighter makes an adjustment to the adjustment, that's when you're going to see the real fight. And Comey didn't make the adjustment after Pedraza went to southpaw. He wasn't landing the same shots that he was having success with earlier in the first 4 rounds of the fight. Then when they had the head clash and the cut, that seemed to take Comey out of the fight mentally because he was pawing at the cut a lot and he just wasn't the same aggressor that he had been earlier. Even with Rozier telling him after round 9, why did you give him that round? Why did you give him that round like that? So his own coach was admonishing him for dropping the ball. So if you're watching the drama of the action, and we talk about this, you and I, if you're watching the drama of the action, you can be swayed by physicality. But I was looking at other things taking place, and Pedraza began to understand that all I got to do is let my hands go. Score points. Don't languish against the ropes where he wants me to be. Stay in the center of the ring as much as possible, but just keep touching him. Because Pedraza's not a knockout puncher, but he has decent hand speed, and as long as he was hitting Comey more than Comey was hitting him, that's favor for him in the judge's eyes. But the judge that had it for Comey, I don't know what the hell he was looking at. Because even his aggression in following Pedraza wasn't effective aggression in the second half of the fight.
Right. Yeah, like I said before, I had 6-4. You know, and that's where I stand on it. You know what I'm saying? I had it 6-4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
hopefully them guys, now, they got a draw, they can get back in the ring, and they both got a safe career. Both of them get a career to keep going.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the draw. The draw helps keep them alive, and they can go in there against someone else that may give them an opportunity. But the thing is, they have to decide, and I'm speaking of both guys here, they have to decide, and I know going into the fight last night, the ESPN guys were talking about Pedraza was looking at this, he wants to be a champion again. But in order to be a champion again, there are certain things that you have to do and ask of yourself. And at the ages that these guys are, 35 for Comey, I think, and 3 or 4 for Pedraza, something like that, they're going to have to ask themselves those questions, because you can easily become the opponent,
Right. Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, there's people in the chat saying they want to see Anderson take on Big Shot. Hey, it's time. It's time for those kind of fights to take place, man. It is really time. I don't want to see these guys just poking around, beating up on, men who use boxing as a supplemental income, basically. I don't want to see that. And to have fights like that, Tay, they can build rivalries. Oh, he got me on this one, but I'm going to meet him down the line. We're going to have a rematch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the way the old guys used to do it.
Yeah, but the guys in the suits nowadays don't do it that way.
Yeah, I know. That's the worst part about this whole thing, man. That kid that got knocked out by what's his name? By Richard Torres last night, man. I don't like how they handled that, Tay. I don't like how the ref handled it. It's like, man, that kid could have died, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what I mean by the padded record. You gonna look at that guy record. Had no business in the ring within a former Olympic period.
Yeah.
Like that at all. But I hope he's okay though.
Yeah. So, what else on your mind, man? Anything else you want to talk about?
That was it right there, brother.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. It's always good to chop it up with you. I might go live later this evening to take Drew's time spot, because he's dealing with some family stuff, looking after some family, some relatives and stuff like that. And it might push into his time slot for his show. That's why. So if he's not able to do it, I'll probably go ahead and do a live during his show. I don't know what you're doing later, but when I do it, I may do it on StreamYard so I can have a panel of people if people want to come on and talk some boxing or whatever. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, thanks for your call, man. The call-in show's popping today. I think we had, let me double check my stats here. Yeah, it had almost 200 people out there checking us out today. So that was good.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, so. But yeah, I appreciate you, Tay, man. We'll catch up a little later, bro.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Take care later. That's my man, Tay Jones. Getting everything ready. We got the big fight coming up in October, and Tay said he may be coming back very soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And we're just about at the end of the rope for this Sunday's call in, man. It's number 52. We would have had a few more, maybe like 58. But I take time off from time to time because y'all don't send me no sandwiches or nothing like that to feed a brother or, dinner plates and stuff. You just hang around in the chat and just be, don't even want to call half the time. So I have to take some Sundays off so I can replenish myself and recharge the batteries. And, that's that, Boy, I tell you. Where we at with this? Man. KT Berry says, okay, Stormy B, man. He says, my hopes be up because that's definitely my favorite things on the net. I love that, pop culture, and kung fu. Hey, man. Well, why I don't be seeing you in my Kung Fu Film Focus chats, man? Because, the last one I did was Sacred Knives of Vengeance, I think. And the next one I got coming is going to be one of the Shaw Brothers films. I think it's going to be... not Shaolin Temple, but the 5 Shaolin Masters. That's the next one I got coming. So you have to be watching out for that. No, the last one I did was the 60-Second Assassin. Last Kung Fu Film Focus was 60-Second Assassin, which is a great independent film. Great stuff there. But I always got something going on, man. Always. My mustache is getting too thick. It's rubbing underneath my nose and it's making my nose itch. That's why you guys see me keep wiping my nose. Ain't no coke sniffing or nothing around here. Just my nose itching from the hair. Jelly Bean is out there, says salute. Out delivering packages. Stay blessed. I appreciate you, Jelly Bean, for popping in, man. If you're just now coming in, you can catch the replay of the show. It was a good conversation today. We had some good laughs. Everybody was in a good place. But we're going to get ready to get on up out of here so you guys can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I may be, like I said, I may be back on later this evening, 6 p.m. Central Time. Check us out for something, you know, as I fill in for Drew. But peace to everybody out there, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we gone.